And so what I want to share in this video is, how do we go from a place where we have this anxiety? How do we go from a place where we have these fears, but we're also able to move forward in our relationship and give our relationship a chance and give the person that we're in a relationship with a chance to really prove themselves and to sort of break down some of these stereotypes that we have. And so that's really what I'm excited about sharing with you today in this video. If you are a Black millennial between the ages of 25 and 40 and you find yourself wanting a little bit of guidance, real life perspectives on marriage and dating relationships and parenthood and just how to grow as a person, be emotionally mature, then definitely consider subscribing to my channel, Chat with Charlie. Hit the notification so every time that I put out a video, you will know about it. Thank you so much for your support of my channel. What's poppin', everybody? Welcome back to Chat with Charlie. I am your host, Charlie. I'm super excited for you to be with me today because I wanted to continue a discussion that actually started in my DM on Instagram. And if you are not following me on Instagram, you should. I am at Chat with Charlie. Remember, Charlie does not have an E on the end. So I was discussing with a gentleman who was sharing with me that he has these reservations every time that he starts a new relationship because he has been done wrong by women in the past. And so every time he goes into a new relationship, he has hesitations, he has concerns, he has fears. And I thought this would be a really great topic to do a video on because I know you, just like me, have probably experienced this before. And as a woman who's been married for 10 years, I know that marriages are not immune to these types of feelings, okay? People who are married also struggle with a lack of trust of their spouse, with feeling as though they might be done wrong, they might be cheated on. And I just thought it would be good for me to open up and share some things with you about how I have navigated this in my own marriage. So if you're interested in that, please stay tuned. Okay guys, so moving right along, when it comes to feeling like you could be cheated on or you having anxiety that your spouse is going to cheat on you or do you wrong, I think what some of us are not realizing is that this is really stemming from our past. If I take my life for instance, when I was growing up, I saw a few situations popping off in my family or with close friends, families where men were cheating on their wives, and I saw the consequences of that. I want to be sensitive to some of the people in my family and not share too many details, but there is a pretty dramatic situation that popped off in my own family where a gentleman basically has two families, and so I know these two families. The children don't really know each other. They didn't grow up together, but they are siblings, and it's because this man chose to have one family with some people in my family, and then we are God brothers and sisters with some other people, and that's also his family. So I know these two families, I know the kids, and they don't really have a relationship, and it's a very sad situation, and it's all because of infidelity. So growing up, I saw that, and I also had a lot of guy friends in high school and in my 20s and in college and stuff, and I would see how they talked about women, the stuff that they planned on doing. And so for me as a woman, I felt like men could not be trusted. Thank God a couple years before I got married, I got around a couple people who were married and they had some solid unions, and I was able to see some positive things from men, and it really kind of restored a little bit of hope. And I think honestly I owe a lot of that to the reason why I'm married today. So I say all that to say, you may be like me where you have a past where you've seen things being done and you are skeptical, afraid, or anxious that the person that you're with is going to do those things to you. So that's number one. So when I got married, I was sort of looking out or waiting to see if my husband was going to produce like some of these other men that I had seen, if he was going to kind of follow suit and confirm all of the stereotypes and the misconceptions that I had about men. So I was just kind of bracing myself a little bit. So there were times when I was sort of hyper aware of things that would happen between my husband and another woman. I was sort of hyper focused on those things and sort of looking for if this was going to be the thing that was going to happen, that was going to put me in the same predicament that so many other people that I knew were in. And so that's sort of the foundation. But when you're in this place, what do you do to kind of get your mind out of this funk? What do you do to kind of move forward in your marriage in a successful way? And that's what I want to share with you, what I have done. So number one, I think that we have to understand a crucial point, and that is we cannot change people. I want you to let that simmer in. You cannot change your spouse, okay? You can't change grown folk. Grown folk are going to do what grown folk want to do, okay? So in your paranoia and in your anxiety and in your fear and your lack of trust, I want you to understand that what you should not try and do to solve this problem is to try and control your spouse, control the person that you're dating so that they don't do the thing that you think they're going to do. That is not the solution, because you're operating out of fear. And a lot of people, when they are afraid of something, they will then go to the point where they try and control their situations and their surroundings so that the outcome that they're so afraid of does not happen. And this is not what we want to do if we're striving to be emotionally healthy, right? And that's what I built my entire platform of Chat with Charlie around, is Black millennials taking control of our emotions, taking control of our lives, being healthy so that we can lead healthy relationships, whether that be marriage or parenthood or dating relationships or whatever. So we're not going to operate out of fear and let fear control us. So we cannot control grown people. Grown people are intent on doing what it is that they want to do. I think that the sooner that we can get this in our mind, the freer that we're going to feel. Will Smith could not control what Jada Pinkett chose to do with August Alsina. Okay, Beyonce could not control the choice that Jay-Z made. Cardi B could not control the choice that Offset made. These are all examples of people who have influence, who have money, and are very attractive people. And their spouses, regardless of how attractive they were, how much money, how many expensive gifts they got, their spouses still made a decision. And that is because you cannot control a grown person. It is not about you. If your spouse did choose to be unfaithful or to betray you or to hurt you, that is their choice. You have to stop living your life in a cloud surrounded by all these negative circumstances that you think are going to happen. Because in fact, when you're living in anxiety like that, when you're living in worry and fear like that, you're actually probably pushing your spouse even further away and creating a toxic environment in your own relationship that may even push that person away even more. So I'm trying to tell you, heart to heart, from someone who has experienced some of these feelings, you don't want to go there. That's not the vibe that you want for your relationship. So if you're not going to surround yourself with those types of things, then what can you do? And I have 3 things that, instead of focusing on negative thoughts in your head that are telling you you're going to be cheated on or your spouse is unfaithful, what can you focus on? So the first thing is, you can control your thoughts. You really need to repeat to yourself, I cannot control this person. And also, I do not know everything. Okay, so when you see your spouse in the bathroom scrolling through their phone and your mind automatically tells you, I bet you they're communicating with somebody of the opposite sex, or I bet you they're texting somebody, or I bet you they're looking at somebody's profile on Instagram. You need to repeat to yourself a counter thought that says, I don't know what they're doing, and it's actually not my business in the moment. Now, if you feel so concerned about it and you want to bring it up in a conversation, then that's something that you need to wait until you calm down. You need to think about what exactly you want to ask, and you can follow up with your spouse at a later time and say something like, hey, I just wanted to know, like, have you been communicating with anybody, or is there anything going on that you want to tell me? Something like that. Not accusatory, not defensive, not coming at them, but you can ask a question, right? However, what we want to avoid is the assumptions, because our brains a lot of times are going to take us to a place that we do not need to be. So first, you need to try and take control of your thoughts and replace negative thoughts about your spouse, about your relationship, with positive thoughts, okay? And I can tell you firsthand that I think a lot of us are not aware, as the person who's afraid that they will be done wrong or cheated on or whatever the situation. I think a lot of people are not aware how you are negatively impacting your relationship. There are so many other things that you could be doing with your time than thinking about and even creating circumstances that are not true in the moment. So focus your energy on positive things. Unless you actually have some real evidence that something is going down, do not allow yourself to be taken away with these negative thoughts. Okay? So the second thing that I think you should be doing when you're struggling with thoughts about your spouse being unfaithful, and again, I'm talking about thoughts that are like have no base, no grounds. No, these are all things that are just in your head. You're in a great relationship. This person has done nothing, but you are just struggling with these thoughts. The second thing that you need to focus on is your emotional health. I am a huge advocate for counseling. I'm a huge advocate for journaling, prayer, meditation, exercise, things that are going to get you in a good, solid emotional state, okay? If you recognize that you are a worrier and you know that a lot of this stuff that you're thinking about and struggling with in your relationship really has nothing to do with your spouse and it has more to do with you and where you're at emotionally, then you need to take responsibility and focus on your emotional health. You need to also focus on your confidence. If you have seen a couple of my videos, you know that Charlie is big on building your confidence, especially because it has such a great impact on the relationships in your life, especially your romantic relationships, your marriage, your dating relationship. And so I do have a video that I will link in the card where I talk a lot about the need for you to increase your confidence, because a lack of confidence can quite frankly kill your relationship. You do not need to be focused on your spouse's coworkers, your spouse's people that are around them that you think that they are interested in. You need to be focused on yourself, because there's a reason why the person that you're with chose to be with you. And you don't want to, again, tear yourself down and put yourself in a place where now you're not even attractive anymore because your mind is swirling with all these negative things. You really want to focus on your emotional health. So you want to be journaling. You want to be thinking about the positive aspects of who you are that you bring to the relationship. And also too, this is huge, guys, when it comes to focusing on your confidence. You want to take a leap of faith and believe your spouse when they tell you the reasons why they love you. A lot of the negative thoughts when it comes to relationships are steeped in a lack of confidence and low self-esteem in ourselves. When we are not seeing our own value, when we are not actually seeing our own worth, it's hard sometimes to believe other people when they tell us positive things about ourselves. So you want to actually be at a place where you are convinced within and of yourself that you are so dope and you understand why your spouse would want to be with you. And that way you can believe them when they tell you that you're attractive, that they love you, that you're the only person that they want to be with. A lot of times, again, we are focusing energy on our spouses and accusing them of things when really we are the ones that are the issue. It's something in us that is causing us to not have an ability to see the good, to recognize that this person is attracted to us and loves us and assumes that they're going to walk out. It is an issue with ourselves. So do all the work that you can to increase your confidence, and that is going to really bless your relationship. And thirdly, I am going to recommend that you work on your communication. I talked about this a little bit earlier on in the video, but this is so crucial if you're struggling with trusting your spouse. You want to get to a point where you can communicate in a calm, collective, respectful way the struggles that you're having. After you've done your work to realize that you can't control your spouse, you have your mind, your emotions, your thoughts under control, you are realizing that you have to give your spouse the freedom that they need to live their life, you are working on your confidence. If you are still struggling, if there are things that your spouse is maybe doing or saying that is sort of feeding into your anxiety of not trusting them and feeling like something is going on, you do want to communicate that. But how you communicate it is very important. Number one, you don't want to accuse, especially if there is nothing solid. You don't have any solid evidence of infidelity, solid evidence of betrayal, or any of those types of things. You want to communicate in a calm, collective way, and you want to make sure that you utilize a lot of questions. Okay? Ain't no, because I know that you're, no, we don't know. Okay? So Again, you can say something like, sometimes I struggle with believing you because I see you doing X, Y, or Z. I don't understand why you choose to take phone calls outside of the house versus inside of the house, or whatever. These are just like things that I'm making up, but I'm just saying that's a way that you can communicate with your spouse. You want to open up to them and let them know who you are, what you're struggling with, where these things have come from, and help them understand how they can really partner with you in helping you to grow. Let them know that you're doing work on your own so that you don't accuse them. Let them know that you think that they're a great person, but you still have these struggles because of what you've been through, what you've seen. And so again, guys, I hope that this has been helpful. Just to recap, this is something that you can deal with either in your dating relationship or in your marriage. And there are 3 things that you need to focus on, and that is controlling your thoughts, realizing that you can't control your spouse. Nothing that you can do is going to be able to stop them from doing what they are intent on doing anyway. So number 1, you can't control them. Number 2, focus on your emotional health, focus on your confidence. And number 3, try and be the best communicator that you can be. If you find yourself in a toxic relationship, I would encourage you to go to my YouTube channel and watch the interview that I did with my homegirl Jen. She is a trained mental health professional in trauma, and we talked about narcissists. So I would say this is not advice for someone who is in a narcissistic, abusive relationship. This is for the people who are struggling. You got a good person, okay, they got your back, they love you, and you are just struggling because of what you've been through. If you really are in a situation where you've been cheated on, or you continue to be cheated on, the person that you're with is unfaithful, they're disrespectful, that's a whole nother conversation for another day. But I am really praying that this is helpful. Again, I encourage you to check out my website, www.chatwithcharlie.com, and follow me on Instagram. So I'm going to sign off. If you have any video suggestions for me, definitely let me know. Hit me up in my DM on Instagram or leave a comment below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And again, until next time, I'll talk to you later. Bye.